In today's video, we're going to talk about relationships with names, not like the other kind of relationship. So for as long as I can remember, I've had kind of a love-hate relationship with my name because I grew up in the States, but I have a Korean name and it's not really common. I always dreaded the first day of school because I knew that meant teachers would have to do roll call and therefore call my name in front of the entire class. And 1 out of 10 times, they would pronounce my name almost correctly, but most times they wouldn't. First days of anything are usually a source of anxiety for me because I know it means that I have to introduce myself and I have to go through the... Wait, can you say that again? You're probably wondering, what is your name? My name is Kaun. And it's actually a pretty unique name in Korea too, I guess, because there are more Kauns or Tauns than Kaun. But obviously people know how to pronounce it right away once they see the spelling. The American version of my name is spelled G-A-W-O-O-N. And sometimes people just have a field day with that. There were many times in my childhood, and even now, once in a while, where I considered changing my name to an English name. And I've heard my name pronounced in so many ways. Gawoon, Gawan, Gaban, Gavoon. I don't know. I guess it's just really hard. I feel like I know people with much more difficult names to pronounce, and yet people struggle with mine so much. Maybe it's the emphasis on the first syllable that throws people off. I don't know. But usually people who aren't Korean struggle to pronounce my name correctly. And I don't blame them because it's not a common name in the States. When I was little, I used to get so mad at my parents. My grandma is the one who named me, but then I'd just be like, why did you let her name me that? I think when I was a toddler, or was in preschool or kindergarten, I actually, from what I remember, genuinely loved my name and I thought it was really unique and cool. And then once the kids started making fun of my name when I moved to a new neighborhood, a predominantly white neighborhood, things changed and I started getting less confident about my name and almost embarrassed to introduce myself to people. So there were times that I wanted to change my name to an English name, and thankfully my dad, he said, no, like, this is your name, there's nothing wrong with your name. And I didn't believe him at the time. I didn't want to believe him at the time because I genuinely hated my name. But the point is, my name and I have had a rocky relationship, to say the least. So usually there are 3 types of people that I encounter when I'm introducing myself and telling them my name for the first time. Number 1, people who confidently say my name wrong. I feel like I find this group of people the most amusing just because they're just so sure of themselves that they know how to say my name, that they know my name, even though I've told them or corrected them on multiple occasions that is not how you say my name. But yeah, it's fine. Like, I don't really mind this group of people too much, but it is very amusing, to say the least. And usually at a certain point, I'm just too lazy to correct them. Number 2, the people who avoid saying my name in fear of pronouncing it incorrectly. Now, this is probably the group of people that I have the least problem with because usually it's from good intentions. I think the people who fall into this category, they don't want to offend you by saying your name wrong. So they just won't say it at all. And I've been there too. Number 3, people who say your name incorrectly on purpose. I've only really encountered this group of people in middle school and high school, aka mean boys. Honestly, there should be a movie called Mean Boys because I feel like I've met more mean boys in my life than mean girls. I don't know about you, but let me know in the comments. For example, in middle school, there was this one guy who would always pronounce my name incorrectly and pronounce it Gae-woon. And that is not how you say it, and I corrected him several times, but he would still call me that because he probably knew that it got on my nerves. And I remember in gym class, I was put on the same team as him for basketball. At one point, I had the ball, and he really wanted me to pass the ball over to him, but in order to catch my attention, he obviously had to call my name. The first time he was like, Gae-woon, pass me the ball, and then I didn't look at him. And the third time, he said it correctly because he actually needed something from me. So that is just an example of a mean boy that would pronounce my name incorrectly on purpose. And this third group of people, thankfully, as an adult, I don't come across as much anymore, but I definitely did in my teenage years and preteen years. That said, it's not always the other person's fault. Sometimes it's actually my fault. Before college, I used to pronounce my name in kind of an Americanized way whenever I would introduce myself to people. So if I ran into someone from high school, for example, today, they would probably still call me by that Americanized version of my name. And I'm totally okay with that because that's on me. I told them that that was how you pronounce my name back when I was in elementary school all the way to high school. And I do have some high school friends who still call me by that name. And in some ways, I just did it to make it easier for them to pronounce my name. I remember before college, I had a lot of embarrassment surrounding my name because one, it was so easy for people to mispronounce and so easy for people to make fun of if you're a mean boy. So I didn't love my name. I liked how it sounded in Korean, but I just didn't like the Americanized version. But once I got into college, you're in a new environment and you want to kind of start over, right? So I wanted to just go by my actual Korean name, how it actually sounds, which is Kaun. And what I noticed is that for the most part, people who were close to me were willing to call me that whenever I introduced myself in that way. I still had some white friends who pronounced my name Goun or the Americanized way, and I was fine with that still, but a lot of my Asian friends, my Asian American friends would call me Kaun, and I started using that pronunciation more and being okay with it. I mean, I'm still actually working on this. Whenever I meet people who aren't Asian or Asian American and might not be familiar with the pronunciation of my name, sometimes I'm very shy about it, or I'm like, oh, it's really hard to pronounce, and I'll always say these things before I even tell them what my name is, and so I'm working on it, but I didn't start trying to make an effort to do so and actively introduce myself as Kaun until college. And I think as I've gotten older, I've become more split down the middle. So on one hand, I don't really want to make a big deal out of my name because a part of me is it's just a name, whatever. It doesn't matter. Your name doesn't define you. I remember in high school or in college, a teacher would do roll call and would be like, can you pronounce your name for me one more time? I really want to make sure I get it right. This is important to me. I really want to pronounce your name correctly. And I'd just be like, you can call me Denise. I don't care. Just can we move on? If I'm ordering something at a Starbucks, or if I'm shopping and the employee is like, hey, what's your name? I'm gonna go put your clothes in the fitting room for you. I just need to write your name down on the whiteboard thing. And I just be like, my name is Gwen. It's Gwen. Because I'm a lazy person at the end of the day and I just want to get by. So yeah, there's a part of me that just doesn't want to deal with it and is totally chill and okay with people calling me whatever they're comfortable with as long as it's not a complete butchering of my name. I'm okay with that. But then on the other hand, there's a part of me that wants people to say my name correctly and wants people to get it right because one, I don't think my name is that hard to pronounce. And two, it's my name. It's what I identify with. So yeah, part of me wants to really just embrace my name and tell people that this is how you pronounce it, so you better say it right. So there are times when I want to change my name, and then there are times when I'm like, why should I change my name? What, just to accommodate Justin or Samantha? Or to make somebody who I probably don't care about's life easier? I'm still very conflicted, but I think I am starting to like my name more as I get older. One time in high school, it always comes back to high school. I remember I was in biology and just talking to a group of my friends, and there was this one girl in the group who I wasn't that close with, but she had some very strong opinions, and somehow we came to the topic of names and then my name, and I remember her saying something that really stuck with me for a long time because she said, well, it's not like your name really rolls off the tongue. And I remember another friend going, that's not nice, and this girl doubled down and she was like, what? It's true. It doesn't. And at the time, I remember agreeing with her and being like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, my name's stupid. It doesn't roll off the tongue. But looking back, I almost feel sad for my younger self because I think I genuinely felt sorry to that other girl for almost being an inconvenience, for having a name that was just a little different and difficult to pronounce for her. But now as an adult, I'm like, that's kind of ignorant. I'm sure she didn't really mean it in a bad way, but it is kind of an ignorant thing to say. Just because someone's name is difficult to pronounce here in the States where you live doesn't mean that it's difficult to pronounce for people somewhere else. Anyway, the one thing that I have learned from all of this is that if you don't confidently introduce yourself to people as though your name deserves to be said, to be pronounced correctly, then you can't expect people to confidently remember you. And again, it can sometimes be like a two-way street. And at the end of the day, I think it comes down to, what do you like being called? What name do you identify with? Even if it's a little difficult to pronounce, or it's a little different, unique, or not common, or spelled a different way from other versions of the same name, that's your name. And you shouldn't have to apologize for it. So that was my spiel on this whole topic of names. Let me know in the comments. Do you have a name that's a little difficult to pronounce? A name that doesn't roll off the tongue? If so, do you care? Do you not care? Or are you somewhere in the middle like me? Let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely curious. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Hope you have a great week and subscribe.